Crystal at bay. I thought Liliana was stepping up as a favour. Steve incised in surprise. No, that fell through. Liliana wanted an engagement ring as an inducement. Dante admitted with an exasperated frown of recollection. Even though it would be a phony engagement, I wasn't taking the risk of travelling down that road, even with her. An engagement ring? Steve queried in surprise. Why on earth would she need a ring to pretend that she was your girlfriend again for Crystal's benefit? Dante shrugged a lean shoulder. She said it was a matter of pride, that she would lose face in front of Crystal if she didn't have a ring. Because why else would she have reconciled with me when we broke up years ago? Your love life, Steve groaned, raking a rueful hand through his floppy blonde hair. If you didn't dump so many women and leave them bitter and angry, you wouldn't be in this situation. Dante compressed his eloquent mouth in silent disagreement. He had no intention of ever marrying and producing children, and he had never lied to a woman on that score. He was upfront about his sex life, and there was no room for love in it. Any woman who thought otherwise soon learned her mistake. He didn't get attached to women. Never had, never would, and Liliana was the only exception to that rule. She was an ex who had become a friend, and he genuinely respected and liked her, but he had still not been able to love her or want a more serious relationship with her. Even trusting Liliana had initially been a challenge, because Dante had never had quite the same view of women since he had caught his deceitful mother in bed with one of his father's closest friends. His snobbish mother, who stood in social judgment over others for their smallest mistakes, and was quick to turn her back on them. He had soon realized that his parent regularly slept around. His indifference to Liliana had, however, told Dante all he needed to know about his own essentially cold heart. Without a doubt, he had inherited that ice gene from his unloving parents, he acknowledged grimly. His sole experience of love had been his deep attachment to his older brother, Cristiano, and when Cristiano had died a year ago, it had shattered Dante and left him tormented with guilt. He often thought that had he been less selfish, he might have saved his brother. Tragically, however, Cristiano had taken his own life because he had never been able to stand up for himself. Placed under intolerable pressure by their demanding parents and trying desperately hard to please as the eldest son and heir, Cristiano had crumbled and ultimately snapped under the strain. And now the best that Dante could do in memory of his late brother was strive to buy back that little piece of woodland heaven where Cristiano had gone whenever life became too much for him. Sadly, in the wake of their firstborn's death, their parents had immediately sold that piece of land for the highest price possible to Eddie Schreiner, a resort developer currently married to Dante's most embittered former lover. Even since marrying Eddie, Crystal had made several unashamed attempts to get Dante back into her bed. The woman was incorrigible, and the last thing Dante needed was Crystal coming on to him while he was trying to make a business deal with her husband. You should hire an escort to play your girlfriend. That sort of a woman. Someone you pay. Steve disconcerted him by suggesting. His voice dropped to a discreet level across the table lest he be overheard. Sounds dodgy and dangerous, Dante countered with a grimace, his attention stolen by the petite young woman standing by the bar with a tray. Her hair was as multicoloured as a Halloween bonfire, a vivid, curling mass of untidy copper, red and glinting gold, anchored by a clasp to the back of her head. She had the porcelain, pale skin of a true redhead, and the legs and breasts of a goddess, Dante decided. Following the slim, shapely length of those fantastic legs, down into the scuffed cowboy boots she wore teamed with a floaty, short floral skirt and a fitted top, above which the swell of her lush breasts foamed like a desert mirage. Quirky fashion sense, though, decidedly not his style. That's Belle. Ground control to Dante, Steve joked when Dante failed to even look his way.